Health and Human Services and FDA, we came to find that this was a military operation. This was our DOD was the one perpetrating this genocide around the world in cahoots with other militaries around the world. This was our DOD, not the troops, right? Not our service members themselves, but our DOD. It was who contracted Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen, AstraZeneca to do this.
And so what we now jointly collaborate on is revealing the structure, the pseudo-legal structure. It's not lawful. They made it legal on paper only, of this criminal cartel, of government, pharma, military criminal cartel, and it actually is operating all over the world. So in addition to that, and this is what is less understood by everyone, is that the Department of Defense in the US ordered all these COVID products, which includes vaccines, but also includes therapeutics, monoclonal antibodies, diagnostics, even masks and staffing. And so there was the whole huge spending ordering these so-called COVID countermeasures under this contracting framework. It's called Other Transaction Authority. It was put in place in the 60s only for NASA, and now 11 federal agencies use it. Department of Defense is a particular huge user of this contracting method because it allows them to contract without following any federal procurement rules and regulations, with a lot of secrecy, and they can specifically order products from otherwise regulated industries such as pharma without following any regulations, and also without even disclosing IP and things like that. So it's a lot of secrecy. They typically use this framework to order weapons from defense contractors. But now they're using the same framework to order what they tell us is a pharmaceutical product. And finally, all this structure clicks into place when HHS Secretary, or the Department of Health and Human Services in the US, declares a pandemic or a public health emergency. And of course, they declared it immediately after the WHO declared it, based on 40 cases in 8 billion people in the world. So they just decided it's time to declare a pandemic, and in the US they declared public health emergency. So when all of this comes in play together, what happens is there is this interesting law in the US. This particular US code is cited here, which says that the use of emergency use authorized countermeasures is not a clinical investigation under public health emergency. That explains why they need to extend the public health emergency in perpetuity, because that allows them to implement this crime. And the significance of this is that if countermeasure cannot be a clinical investigational product, then no pharmaceutical regulation applies to these products. So here's the lie that our government told to us and told to the world, and the governments all over the world repeated to their citizens. They were claiming that it's a health event. They were claiming that they're producing pharmaceutical products to the good manufacturing standards, when they perfectly well knew, I assure you, they were all aware of this. They perfectly well knew that no pharmaceutical regulations apply to these things, countermeasures. So this word countermeasure is a very interesting word. It's a very fluffy definition. There's no real definition. If somebody attacks me, I pick up a rock and throw at them, that's a countermeasure. So anything can be a countermeasure. It's just a category of things. And so, but once they designate them as such, they're no longer pharmaceuticals. They're just lying to you that these are pharmaceuticals. They're actually not. In fact, when, there was this famous case where Pfizer, or it was said that Pfizer or FDA didn't want to release clinical trial data for 75 years. Well, who was arguing in court on behalf of Pfizer? Pfizer lawyers were not even in the room. It was the Department of Justice. So why is US government defending presumably a private commercial interest of a pharmaceutical company? So here you can see that the pharmaceutical companies are a third level down, They're not in charge, but they're getting tremendous amounts of money to shut up and follow the orders and do as they're told. But the whole operation is run